Hello, video to Gary in a way, but also in a way absolutely not, because Gary is not going to take any notice of this video and will only want me to shove it somewhere else. So I'm using it just as a vehicle video to Gary, but really it's to anybody that's interested. I listened to Gary's video to Hothloday this morning on my ears, and I thought it strange because Gary almost got it right by trying to get it concise, because you make a mistake in an argument talking to somebody like Hothloday if you give lots of stuff out there. If you've got lots of stuff going out there, then somebody like Hothloday can just go across and go, I'll have a go at that one, and then start picking up that one. When you're talking to somebody like Hothloday, it's much best to keep the videos under a minute, one precise question at a time. Gary tried to lay out these things 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang. I don't agree with the way it's put out at all, but that is not really what I'm up to. But it intrigued me enough that I went to the comments to see if anybody else would be picking up on the fact that this is a quagmire, a bog, an impossible situation that Gary is running into, and that people will run into. And a comment did come in from Joe Mills, which I'll read probably a couple of times. It starts off, experiences, these are going to be for a person, a self, a person. Experiences are the way we interact with our brain. Experiences are the way we interact with our brain. Experiences are the way we interact with our brain. Right. Now, nothing on the right, wrong, indifferent on that. Hopefully, most people have picked up now there is no right, wrong, indifferent. There are just a myriad, lots, of different perspective, points of view, different ways of looking at life. I think I'll go to a chess analogy, and if you don't know chess, then you might get a bit lost on this, but the chess analogy just does work very well. That there are many ways of playing chess. Chess has been played an awful long time now by an awful lot of very bright people who have been very good at chess and working out how best to play chess, and they've written lots of it down on bits of paper. And you get ways of starting off. If he does that, she'll do that, diddly diddly dit, and it can carry on for 40 moves up a particular trunk and then off branches. But if you go off on a main branch, that is generally called a main line, and it's given a name, and it's got its own chapter in the book, as it were. And then if you go off that main line, you're going off main line until going off that main line at that particular point is so popular, then that becomes its own main line, and it gets a name and its own chapter in the book. So you've got these main lines, and these are the main lines of discussion for various aspects of discussing our people's lives in the world. That's the analogy going on. And just to make it work best for me, you can bring it right back to really, there are two main ways of opening a chess game. It's a queen's pawn opening. You move your queen pawn forward, or it's a king's pawn opening. There are different ways of doing it, but those are the two starts off of what are then going to be main lines. And you kind of go off on the queen's line main lines, or the king's opening main lines. Now, I don't think the distinction is so much in discussions of life that we're having here on YouTube, mainly centered around Gary and his antinatalism, vegetarianism, and that sort of thing, or not even centered around Gary, that people are having, talking about, sometimes it's called philosophy of life for people. But I think the two opening positions, the equivalents of the Queen's pawn opening or the King's pawn opening, are pub talk or philosophy talk. Now, these are just names for them that I don't know or give a damn what they're called, but that's kind of the way I've started calling them, so I'll continue to call them. There's one way, which is the pub talk, and the other way, which is the philosophy talk, or science talk, or deep talk, or something like that. Here we get, and if you look at Gary's video, he starts with this: I feel pain. I can presume that you feel pain. And we can imagine that a pig feels pain. And this can be fine for describing what we could or should not do in life, as in you should not cause other sentient creatures pain. And you can take it on to antinatalism. Is it worthwhile to bring another sentient creature into the world that is going to feel inevitably various amounts of pain? That is all the King's pawn opening. That is the pub talk opening that most everyone can relate to. And if it's stuck to, as it is in other parts of the YouTubes, not centering round the other parts, it is being won, I think, that way. And many people are going over to veganism and things like that, playing this King's pawn opening, this pure pub game of I feel pain, you feel pain, pigs feel pain, everyone feels pain. Why do it? Explain yourself. And it works damn well because everyone can relate to it. On this side, it is a terribly different kettle of fish. You start getting into subjectivity, objectivity, free will, determinism, on and on and on and on. And trying to make an argument. There are, you can imagine, just in the pub talk one, how many different perspectives, points of view you will get down the pub discussing this. And this is it's a very, very small amount of possibilities of ongoing discussion on this side. This one is monstrously huge. And if you try and mix the two, basically you're going to get nowhere. Absolutely and totally nowhere. So this video is just to say, the game, if it's the game to stop pain in the universe, it's being won on this side. Nothing's happening on this side. People are just talking about nonsense, about brains doing it and all sorts of stuff that we'll never know about probably. And it's highfalutin, filling up time and space and just ego boosting bollocks. This side might be as well, but this, if you want to be productive, this is the side not just to concentrate on, to go to and absolutely stay on. Mixing it with this is just futile. This video is to say that the perspectives, it's all perspectives that you're going to bump into. And many, many, many of them are valid main lines. You go up this one and you bump into them and they're main lines and they're valid. They've been played millions of times before and they're valid. Over here, I mean, millions of main lines, valid as well. All different perspectives. It's all perspectives. But there are these two main lines. But if you want to be effective, you go with the pub talk and talk to people how they are used to talking. And that way they can be moved. They will not be moved by this sort of nonsense. This is just for people with silly hats and people with too much time and ego on their hands. Bye.